My name's Carla Snow, and my hooper name is also Carla Snow. I've been hooping for 5 years now, but I'm actually here this weekend celebrating a very special anniversary. This is my 3rd anniversary of being a full-time hooper, a professional hooper. Yeah, woo! Making a living doing this, which is absolutely amazing. I started my company, Flow Lab, in 2010, and it's been a really interesting ride as I've sort of navigated my way, through small business and being able to sustain myself and my family off of a plastic circle. A brief rundown of my hoop history, it changed my life. I used to be an accountant, not a very good one, which made it really easy to leave the business. But I was also, I was overweight and I was depressed and I just was really uninspired with life. And I know that what I'm telling you is sort of a story you probably sounds really familiar. I found the hoop and then I was just incredibly inspired. And when the topic of performance came up, I just sort of jumped right in because I felt really good about myself. And the thing is that when we talk about, the benefits of hooping, we've got the big three. We've got mind, body, and spirit, but I think there should be a fourth, and that should be entrepreneurship or business. I bet you that out of this room, almost everyone has performed or taught or made hoops or organized an event or done something in some way that contributes, right, to the overall community. The thing is, though, is that hooping is so incredibly exciting, especially when it's new. And that excitement can be a really powerful motivator, so powerful that, like me, we can jump in without really considering what our overall intention or goal is behind our actions. So what I want to show you is, this is actually the directory of hooper names off of hooping.org. And when I started hooping 5 years ago, there was like a handful of hoop tutorials and you really had to look for them. If you wanted to get a hoop, you had to go online and order it and have it shipped to your door. If you were lucky, you had a hoop teacher in your community who could show you, how to do that. Now, everybody's hooping. There's, so many tutorials, and hoopers are like learning these skills so incredibly fast, right? What took me a few years to learn is taking the next hooper 6 months. I think that it's probably because of really stellar teaching and also YouTube videos. But, it just goes to show that people are getting into this quicker and quicker and quicker. And if you're doing this so fast, are you stopping to take the time to really consider, the intention behind why you're going to sell a hoop or why you're going to teach a class or why you're going to perform, right? So going back to my story, I was at this performance and we had, two people on opposite ends of the stage, and for all intents and purposes, their performances looked the same. When I first looked at them, they were both incredibly skilled. They both had great repertoires. They both were, professionally made up, great costumes. But one of the people that I was with, looked at them for a few moments and he turned to me and he said, "She is feeding the audience and she is feeding off of the audience." And I stopped and I sort of looked at them, through these new eyes, and it was really apparent once I looked at it, from that perspective. The performer who was feeding off of the audience, she was incredibly talented and she was having a really good time, but she was having a really good time because people were looking at her, right? And I mean, I love attention, don't get me wrong, but the other performer who was feeding the audience, again, incredibly skilled, but she was making eye contact and she was smiling, and it was a huge, genuine smile. She was high-fiving people, and what was going on was this like give and take, two-sided equation where it wasn't just her that was having fun. The audience was having the greatest time ever. There was a party going on, and you could just tell the difference between this energy level. So what's your motivation, when you get into performance or into business? My motivation, community. It's absolutely, if it wasn't for community, I would not be here celebrating 3 years of being in business. If it wasn't for community, I wouldn't be here this weekend. I've got members of the community subbing my classes so I could get away for a weekend. It's a member of the community who helped me to get here this weekend. And without the community, I'd be nothing. So that's my number one motivation. Taking that from performance into my business practice, everything that I do now is feeding. When I first was selling a hoop, it was to make money. I was a small business owner. Now when I sell a hoop, it's to do something so much greater, and that's to provide somebody with a chance to have their life change the way that I have. It would be really disingenuous of me to stand up here and act like I never let the fear of scarcity control my actions when I was first getting into business. When you're a small business owner and your income relies on, doing well, it's hard not to get scared when there's another hoop maker in your city making hoops for less money than you, or when somebody else starts teaching classes in the same area. But the problem is that when you start, collecting all that and holding on to, the business for yourself and not sharing it, you're really diminishing the capacity to feed the community and make it bigger. And so what I really had to do was really let go of that and start embracing the idea that, we're all in this together, and the more people that are teaching in my city, the better, and the more of us that are selling hoops, the better. When your actions are engaging, not just your customer, but also other people in the community, we just grow and we thrive. Collaboration. Okay, have you ever been to a potluck dinner? Potluck dinner, yeah? Potluck dinner, you've got so many different dishes, right, that are all sitting there waiting to be shared between friends. When you remove this fear of scarcity and the word competition from the hoop community, what you get is collaboration, right? You get all of these different flavors, all of these different skill sets brought together to make something even more awesome. Out of all the people in this picture, we've got 4 people who are teaching hooping in the same city, 6 of us who make hoops as a source of income, 4 of us who do hooping or circus arts full-time as a career, and we've all performed at one time or another, but none of us consider ourselves the competition. We're all working together, and that is why my community back in Edmonton, Alberta, I believe, has gotten so incredibly big in the last few years. It's absolutely thriving, and I think it's because we've got such a big buffet of awesome going on. I mean, how can you, resist so much awesome? So, T-Rex. So how can you do this? There's so many different ways that you can feed, whether it is in a performance, making the eye contact, being engaged, but then there's so many things you can do as a business person. When you're selling a hoop, it doesn't just have to be a transaction, just money for hoop. You can provide them with the education on here's where you can take classes, here's where jams are going on, here's where all the other stuff is, here's how to use the hoop. Here's make sure the hoop is the right size before they leave. I mean, I would love to say that everyone is buying the right size hoop, but it happens. I have people come to my class and I'm like, wow, that hoop is really too small for you. No wonder you've been struggling. If you go to the park and you're one like me and you've got your Poly Pro hoop, take a big hoop with you. Because that Poly Pro hoop, we're all there. You can hoop with a Poly Pro, but what if somebody comes up to you who's never hooped before? You want to guarantee their success and get them hooping with you, bring that big hoop with you so you can share it. The hoop community is absolutely one of the most supportive and loving groups of people that I've ever had the privilege to share space with. It's changed my life. I know that it's changed yours. We could sit here all night and we could all share stories about all of the amazing people and the stories, the really wonderful heart stories that we've all heard or experienced in our journeys as hoopers. And I can't think of a single greater reason for us to focus our intentions as business people on not just making the money, but on growing the community in every way possible. Because what you put into it is definitely what you get out. It becomes a complete circle, it goes all the way around, and we all benefit from it. So keep on feeding the community, guys. Thank you.